Hello, I'm Matt Hoots with Rata Green. This video is part of a series. The rest of the videos with titles and links to the other videos are in the description below.
Thank you, Chris. And that was incredible. Really awesome, very impressive projects. Just so everyone is aware, this meeting is being recorded and will be sent out later to all the attendees. If you are new to GoToWebinar, there is a way to ask questions that we'll get through after this little presentation on this program. So Chris, I should have control of screen. Yep. I do. So really at this time, I wanted to discuss a new program that we at Rockwool just released. Chris is one of our many already enrolled in this great program. It's called the Rockwool Elite Builder Program. Before I get into the program, I did want to inform you of some of the new products that we just released. So we have a new product, Rockwool Comfort Bat line. So really nothing different about the product itself. It's really just new R values. So, these new products are code driven and will meet code with all the features and benefits of Rockwool. And like all of our products, they are still utilizing cross-directional fibers to reduce airflow, but without stopping airflow. And one of the other ones, especially for the southern climates, we now have an R38. So you can now have a single step application for attics and cathedral ceilings with a total thickness of only 9.5 inches. These are available now to be installed by your installation contractor or from your local insulation supplier. Speaking of R value, Comfort Board 80 did just receive a higher R value per inch. It used to be 4 per inch, and now it's up to 4.2 per inch. So really getting back to the program, the Elite Builder program, you could see the design of this wall assembly and roof assembly. This is one of the many designs we have. We offer designs beginning with below grade, both subslab and foundation like you saw from Chris, all the way up to the roof like this design shows. Rockwool can also help our elite builders with these designs, increasing your confidence with proven designs and eliminating risk while producing a high performance and durable assembly. Please also reach out to myself for any other solutions. Let's say you don't have the budget or need to insulate the roof deck. I have other solutions with doing a continuous air barrier and going from basically the exterior of your wall and wrapping it inside prior to putting on the roof trusses. Some other promotional material that you get with this program. Basically, we just want to help differentiate the builder from other builders in your area. So, there is a Elite Builder Program brochure that you will receive after applying to this program. There's also homeowner pamphlets that educates them on the features and benefits of Rockwool, including indoor air quality, moisture resistance, sound, fire, and long-term thermal value due to no blowing agents or off-gassing over time. We also have showroom monitors available that show some of these features and benefits in a fun-spirited way in a looping video. The homeowner brochures also fit into this display. As you can see, some of the other materials, including literature and samples for you or your customers, so those are all available to you. We do also offer building science support and can do WUFI analysis for you, R value calculations, heat transfer modeling, overall U value, and even dew point calculations, similar to the ones that Chris was showing. These are all free of charge for you throughout the year. You can also receive promotional merchandise and wearables. To sign up, all you need to do, simply go to rockwool.com/elitebuilder and hit apply now. From there, you'll be in contact with either myself or a local territory manager to get you started on the program. So there is also rebate opportunities available. They do differ from United States and Canada. So you'll actually be able to kind of see, what the differences are. And again, once you apply, we'll send you all the different rebate packages for your country. So at this time, thank you again for joining this presentation. We did receive a few questions in the chat. So I just wanted to Chris, I'm going to be asking you a couple questions. So the first one comes from Cherie Dittmer. What finish material protected the closed foam board on the foundation walls? I believe this was pretty early on in the presentation, so I think it was the termite control, maybe.
On the foam, on where if it's the Rockwool we're talking about, yeah, we used, or if the stone wool exterior that we used just an aluminum flashing material to cover the insulation. It was custom made. It's just basically a Z flashing, and we put that on before we did our backfill and secured it to the foundation, the turn down slab, and so it doubled as the protection of the insulation and a termite shield. So that was it's just a I think 14 gauge aluminum painted.
Okay, and that was pretty much above the soil level, but below the comfort board.
Correct. And then and so because there's a warranty requirement by the cladding manufacturers that, some of them want you to have 6 inches between the bottom of their cladding, bottom trim and grade. We installed another piece of just flat aluminum flashing over to protect the insulation and, just for a decorative piece. And it was behind, it would kind of be installed behind the furring strips of the rain screen system, and then it went below grade. So that was it shows up, you see it, but it's decorative and protective.
Okay, and there was another question that actually falls right in line with this: is what cladding manufacturer, what cladding do you typically use on your homes? Is it maintenance free? Is it wood?
Yeah, it's always a low maintenance. So of the projects we've done, all of them have been either fiber cement, some sort of composite, or a metal, and we continue to use all 3 of those now. But it depends on the project. There are woods that you can get treated, and the way that they're made, they can be low maintenance. I think the main thing we're doing with all of them is designing details, designing the system so that we don't have a need for caulking or sealants where they're typically installed, because we do have a rain screen. Air and water can move freely throughout these assemblies, so we don't need to seal them, and we don't want those gaps to be unattractive. So that's why we used Fry-Reglet, metal corner trim at the windows and corners, inside corners, all over throughout the house, so that we could conceal the edges of the fiber cement paneling, or with metal cladding, we can just build metal trim, and all of it gets, you can crimp the edges of the metal trim, and then the cladding itself goes behind that metal trim, and everything is concealed. So any cuts or whatever, we don't see that. And a lot of times the caulking sealing is to hide some of those, maybe an uneven cut or inconsistencies there. But we have zero, well, very, very little caulk, if any, on our projects, because we know caulk fails. And so that's just the maintenance item that we try to eliminate from the job. So that's more important than the actual cladding. But yes, primarily they are very low maintenance inherently, and very durable.
Hey, can you guys hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that internet connection. We have virtual school going on here too, so apologize. So one of the other questions that we got was basically, how do you address the windows in the house with all the continuous insulation on the outside?
We have preferred over the years, because of we attach it to the sheathing, and so the insulation just basically goes almost right up to the window frame on the exterior, and we leave enough of the gap in that between the window frame and the insulation to allow for the cladding to return and die into the sheathing. And so you install them just like you would on any house that doesn't have the exterior insulation, but the difference, and then allow the insulation to just run right up to it. We have not done the outie window, which is you build up a box to push the window out to the exterior. And we prefer this way because having the window pushed out, it creates ledges on the interior that most of the homeowners we've worked for are interested more, like they want more of the interior to be normal, and then the exterior, having that recess gives us an architectural element of what we call a punched opening. So it pushes it back, gives us a little bit of a reveal. It looks nice. It's also protective to the window, so it gives us anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of protection at the top and the sides for shading, for water, so it's no different. The windows go on. We install a little bit with more fasteners and more goop around there just to make sure it's perfectly installed. But other than the normal installation, it's the same.
Yeah, and I'm sure also with having any design, especially in the hot climate, reducing the solar heat gain from the window would also help. You guys also do the solar shades outside, but that also would help.
Yeah.
And then getting
it helps. Yeah.
And then also getting it so your air barrier and water barrier are continuous without doing a window buck first is probably also much easier for a labor standpoint.
Yeah, there are a lot of products out there for insulated window bucks and things for continuous insulation assemblies, and we eliminate all of that, and we eliminate the origami for the water resistive barrier, all of those control layers at the window, by allowing the insulation to just stop right there. And the other thing about that is, typically on the interior of the window, where between the window frame and the rough opening, typically that's filled with insulation, to keep the insulation continuous. But because we don't have any cavity insulation, and because the insulation goes right up to the window frame, there's no need to try to fill that gap. We can just air seal it and be done.
Right.
So the insulation is still continuous without having to fill that little gap, which sometimes is paper thin, and sometimes is 1.5 inches wide. And either way, it can become a tedious, opportunity there.
Yeah. Well, and even with putting all the continuous insulation, even in like a northern climate, now you're actually keeping the sheathing warmer, reducing the chance of condensation on the backside of the sheathing, because whatever your temperature inside is now is touching your sheathing on the exterior, but you're still well insulated outboard of that. So you're actually having almost a more durable assembly too.
Correct. And that's, mentioned it earlier, that we're trying to not only protect the occupants from, heat loss and gain from moisture, from air and all that, we're from bad air, we're protecting the structure. And if the structure is protected, it won't have the expansion and contraction. It won't have the degradation that comes from being exposed to the elements. And so over time, every element of your structure is protected for the life of the building, and that's what makes it durable, high performance, and that's what helps make it last as much longer, because you're not exposing the structure, which is what keeps the building standing up.
Right. That's the most important part of a house.
Yeah. Failed buildings are bad for business.
So one of the other questions, quick question, what was the R value of the wall in Dade City tiny house? This was from Kevin Brennan.
The comfort board that we used has an R value of 4 per inch, and I mean, if you dig down deep, it'll say 4.2. What happens, stone wool actually can increase in R value as it gets colder, depending on the product. So I would say we had, just simplicity, we have an R8 on the exterior, and then our cavity bat, our cavity insulation was the comfort bat, and it was an R15. So the continuous R value is R8. And if you take out the studs and all that, that then ends up being about R11 for continuous. So it's R11 plus R2, we're about R8 and 11. So we're about R19 continuous, you know.
Okay.
And that's a huge difference. That's a lot. I mean, building officials don't understand this. So we have assemblies with R30 at the roof or R34. And they immediately will tell us, no, that's not going to meet code because you have to be R38. But R38 is in a cavity, so they're not accounting for the 2x or the framing material. And so the actual R value, yeah, like the through wall R value is closer, is below 30 when you have an R38 insulation, or closer to 30 at least. And so when you have continuous R34 or 35, that's it. That's your R value permanently. Whereas the others, you lose the overall R value of the assembly by including all of the framing, because each stud, or what it's R1,
right.
you know, so it's just, it decreases the overall performance.
Yeah, and when you're adding continuous on the exterior, you add an R8. You add R8 basically in an effective R value as well. So your R34 Correct. Roof is way over exceeding code at the R30 in the cavity.
Right. In Georgia, they allow us to do an R19 on the roof if you use spray foam insulation on the underside of the sheathing, you know, like inside the assembly. Mm-hmm. And because it's an airtight, you know, insulation, or it contributes to the air sealing, and also so they allow R19, but again, that's R19 with plus the loss of, or minus the loss of the framing. And so your continuous is below R19. And when we put 6 or 7 on the roof, we're talking about 2 or 3 times that, but they're not seeing that. They're only seeing that, oh, this is strange that it's on the outside and it's not R38, which is what it should be. Right. But they still allow R19 in between, you know, framing members. So there's a lot of times we have to educate our building officials, and they're not always receptive to it, and they're not able to reach that. So yeah.
Okay, and then another question from Ross Can: how do you prevent the furring strips from compacting the rock wool?
That's why we do the mock-up wall, because it gives our crew a chance to practice without compression. So they'll go through, I think on a mock-up wall, they probably put in 50, 60 screws. So they have that many chances to figure out how far they need to go. And a lot of times they'll just back it out if they go too far. Being a rigid insulation, it doesn't compress very easily. So when they can tell that they've gone too far, because they'll see it compress, and so they'll back it out just slightly. And just, you know, so that's the way we control it. And then I'll walk around the house after they're done, and just keep, you know, look for compression, and just have them back it out wherever they've gone too far.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Chris. It's now 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Anybody else that has asked questions, we'll definitely get back to you on them. Thank you for everybody's time. Thank you, Chris. That was phenomenal. I learned so much from you and your projects. And on the screen now, you could see all of Chris's ways of reaching to Chris. He has social media, website, and email as well.
Yeah. The YouTube channel has a lot of stuff, talks a lot about some of these projects and some of the, you know, how we did it. So if anyone's interested in that. Thanks for having me, Dan, and everyone there at Rockwool. This is this was fun. I'm glad to be able to share it with somebody, because you know, doing it and all this time, I've got it in my head, and it's just nice to have somebody else interested in hearing what we're doing. So hope it was useful. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
Yeah, and likewise, if anybody needs to contact myself or interested in the Elite Builder program, you could go to rockwool.com/elitebuilder, or feel free to email me as well, Dan.Edelman@rockwool.com. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks again for watching this video. This concludes this series from Rockwool and LG Squared. I want everyone to give Chris and Dan a thumbs up for all their hard work in putting this presentation together. If you'd like to see more videos just like this in the future, do not forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join the Rated Green community. See you next time.